Makeup can be a really fun tool to help you express yourself, to accessorize your outfits, and to even help feminize your face a little bit. But it can be really difficult kind of figuring out where to start with everything if you don't have any experience with it before. There's a lot of different products, there's a lot of different jargon, and it can all be really overwhelming. It was for me when I started, and thankfully I had a couple of really nice teachers, including my fiance, that helped me learn a lot in a pretty quick amount of time. So today I'm going to try to pay that forward a little bit. This is going to be a very simple, easy to follow along beginner's makeup tutorial that I use for pretty much all of my looks that you see in most of my videos that I do. This is going to be the final look I'm filming after I filmed everything else, and then through the magic of editing we will go back and we can follow along back up until this point. I break everything down, I try to show you what products I use, I try to explain everything in an easy to understand way. But if you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments. So, without further ado, I'm going to see you all back here in a little bit. I can't wait to see how gorgeous you all look. Bye! And through the magic of video editing, here we are, back at the beginning, ready to start. Before we get started though, it's really important that I show you my makeup bag. It is blue, and it is Star Wars, and I love it very much. If there is anything more like me coded, I don't know what it is. Seriously though, before we get started, there was one thing I did before I started filming today, which is really important for your makeup routine, and that is a good skincare routine to go along with it. So if makeup is like paint, then your face is sort of like the canvas, right? And we want to make sure our canvas is nice and clean and smooth and moisturized before we begin. So it's not really important that like you get an expensive skincare routine or you use certain products. You just need to find one that works really well for you and do it consistently. If you want a video about that at any point in time in the future, I'm happy to go over my skincare routine as well. Hello! To get started here, we're going to prime our face. That's going to protect our pores. It's going to give the makeup something nice to stick on and make sure it lasts if we're going to be wearing it for a long period of time. I'm going to be using No Problem by Touch in Soul because it was given to me by my fiance. And that's going to start the beginning of a trend with this video, as I'm sure you will find out. But honestly, I have my fiance to thank for pretty much everything I know about makeup. She was really supportive in helping me learn everything and get started with it. Because it can be really intimidating at first. Now that we have primed, we're also going to prime our eyeshadow. And that's going to be with a little bit of a different product. Let me put my glasses back on so that I can see. I'm going to be using Party Proof from ColourPop. Eye primer, just like the regular primer, is going to give your eyeshadow something to stick onto. And it's going to protect the delicate skin on your eyelids as well. So one of the things I'm doing, and you'll see when I touch my eyes, I'm never going to use either my thumb or my index finger because those fingers have too hard of a touch. I'm going to try to use my ring finger because that supposedly has the lightest touch. Cool. Now we're going to use foundation. So instead of a normal foundation, I use a BB cream. This is CoverGirl CG Smothers BB Cream. It's a tinted moisturizer as well as an SPF protection as well, which you should be using to protect your skin. I use this instead of a traditional foundation, which might have a little more coverage to it, because I don't particularly need that much coverage because that's one of the benefits of having a really nice skincare routine that works for you, is that I can get away with a little bit of a lighter foundation when I need to.
Oh, brother!
So for this, I'm going to put it right on my skin, and I'm running out, so I need to get more of this soon. But I'm going to put it right on my skin rather than applying it to my applicator or something. Cool. And then I'm going to get my wet sponge, which I dampened beforehand and wrung out super good. And then I'm just going to start lightly tapping over my face to blend it in. Foundation is going to help just kind of smooth everything out on your face. It's going to even out the tone. Again, just start working that canvas. Okay, good. Now, we got concealer next, which I'm going to use this Maybelline eraser. It has a little blending tool already in it. You just give this one like a few clicks to get the makeup out onto the applicator it has. And then with concealer, I'm gonna put this under my eyes to cover up some of the darker circles that I still have. I have to think really hard not to make a face where I'm putting makeup under my eyes still. I don't know what it is. We've got concealer on. Next, we're gonna blend. We're gonna blend a whole lot today. Blending's gonna be your friend. If you put a little too much makeup on your face, blend. If you got some colors that you want to mix together, blend. If you want to hide wherever you put your concealer, blend. And again, we're just gonna take our sponge and lightly tap over it. Now, you never want to go like too crazy with your blending. You don't want to blend without intention. But you can really like kind of go in there, like the makeup's on your face. And if you blend a little too much, you can always put a little more on. That's going to be my first big tip here, is that when in doubt, put less on your face than you think you're going to need, because you can always put more on. It's always easier to add more than it is to take any off. Okay, voila. We're, I think, done with that sponge as well. So, with the foundation and the concealer on our face, that sort of evened everything out. It also took a lot of the natural color out of our face. Now, we're going to add that color back in with some bronzer and some blush. I'm going to note here as well, I do the rest of my face and then I do my eyes last. There's a lot of people who choose to do their eyes first, and then they can kind of use their concealer and their foundation to fix any kind of stuff they got going on with their eyes. Because my foundation doesn't have a super high coverage like that, don't worry about that. That doesn't really work for me. You can also add in another step here if you like, especially if you have facial hair like I do. That's called color correction. That's gonna help cover up any of the like shadow that you see of that facial hair even after you shave. For color correction, what you do is you take like a red or an orange concealer or an eyeshadow, and you would put that on underneath your foundation or your concealer. Because I don't use a very high coverage foundation, that doesn't super work for me. I've tried it before and you can see right through it. If you want me to do a video about that as well, I will try to get some good concealer and I'll give it a shot. Because that's something I could use. In general though, I just kind of shave right before I do my makeup and I try not to let it bother me too much. I don't have too much of that shadow on my cheeks, just kind of a little bit around my mouth, so it doesn't get to me too bad. Now I'm already forgetting steps. Now, before we go on to bronzer and blush, because I tend to sweat a lot, I'm gonna add a powder here as well. Now, you can do the powder here at the end to seal everything in. I like to do it at this point because it helps conceal the appearance of that sweat a little bit. Now, you're just gonna get a little bit of that powder on your brush and brush it all over your face. And that's going to help set in some of the cream makeups that we've used so far. So I'm going to start with bronzer here. I use this Tarte bronzer. This is called Park Ave Princess. And I'm going to use this angled brush as well here. I'm going to get a little bit on my brush, not too much, because like I said, you can always add more later. And then to get any excess off my brush, I'm just going to give it a quick tap. With bronzer, we're going to think of that as kind of like the shadows. We're going to put that back on the shadows over here. So I'm going to put that right along my hairline to kind of frame my face a little bit. I'm also going to put it in the hollows of my cheeks as well, as under my jawline a little bit too. Well, we're going to go real light at first. We're going to pull our mirror closer so that we can see, because without our glasses, we cannot see very well at all. And then to get it in the hollows of my cheeks, what I do is just sort of do a fish face a little bit.
Soap, what is soap?
And that way I can kind of see exactly where I need to go with it. Okay, so this is a really cool thing that my fiance has. It's from Ulta. It's just a brush cleaner. So after I'm done with like my bronzer, before I blend, I'm gonna clean off my brush a little bit. And then I'm gonna go back and blend. Along my hairline, where I did that framing, we're gonna blend back into the hair. And then their cheeks, we're gonna go backwards as well with it. Oh wait, I just got a cool new brush as part of a Christmas present from my fiance. Thanks, fiance. I'm gonna use it. Excellent. Next, we're gonna move on to blush. I love blush. I have so much fun with blush. Now, there's a lot of different styles. There's a lot of different ways that you can do your blush. My suggestion to you is play around with it. There's going to be different styles that look better for you. There's certain ones that are really popular right now that if I try to do, I look really bad, right? It looks like I'm sunburned as hell.
Am I the biggest loser on the beach?
No, I am. I forgot to put on sunscreen.
So what works for me is to put a little bit of blush kind of right, I draw a line from the end of my eye down. And I kind of put a little bit of blush right there, and then I blend outwards from that spot. And when I do my blush, I blend it out on my cheek, and then I also kind of bring it up in a semicircle all the way around my eyebrow. I kind of bring it up, almost a quarter of my eyebrow, kind of where that arch is. I always forget my damn nose. I'm gonna find the bronzer again. So for your nose, I'm going to take a little bit of the bronzer and I'm going to put it along either side of the bridge of my nose, and then I'm going to blend it back down this way. I'm going to do very light bronzer as well there. I'm also going to put a little bit under the tip of my nose. Again, just kind of thinking where the shadows would be on your face naturally. And then we blend. You can also use your sponge, which should have a little bit of foundation left on it as well from blending, and you can use that to real lightly blend and cover up any extra bronzer if you use a little too much on your nose. Now we can go back with the blush.
Jesus Christ!
And we're going to put a little bit on the tip. And then I'm going to come down a little bit to the sides of my nose as well. And you see, I don't think I used quite enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Cute. Okay, so last thing before we move on to our eyeshadow and our eyes is going to be highlighter. This is going to make us nice and shiny. It's going to help reflect the light. I have this eyeshadow palette from my fiance. It is Ofra. I'm not sure if all of the different pots in here are Ofra. You can see there's a bunch of different colors and hues. I love taking this red one here because it matches my blush really well. And I'm gonna get some on my, it's just a little smaller of a brush than I've used before. I'm gonna take off my glasses, and then I'm gonna put it right over where I have my blush. Right on top of the cheekbone, kind of right lining the top of where you have your blush there. And then you can kind of play around, again, and add wherever else you want to be a little shiny. I normally put some on my nose. I normally put some kind of right between my eyebrows and the bridge of my nose. Okay, you're with me still. Super easy up until this point, right? So, we get to move on to our eyes, which is my favorite part to do. It's also the part that you get the most freedom and kind of creativity to play around with. I use kind of one basic look for my eyes and then use variations of that for whatever I need or whatever I want kind of outfit wise. So we already primed our eyes earlier. I'm gonna start with eyeshadow. And I'm going to use this It's All Good palette from ColourPop. I really enjoy, this is not sponsored, could be. I really enjoy ColourPop's products. I just really like the pigments they use. I just think this is a really pretty palette. I've used it for a lot of different looks in a lot of different videos. And I've just always had a lot of success with it. So that's what we're going to use today. So I'm going to grab two much smaller brushes than I have grabbed up until this point. And these are going to be most of what we use through our eyes. Or at least for our eyeshadow. Now, because I have hooded eyes, I need to find a little extra real estate to show off the color of my eyeshadow, or it's going to be really hard to see it a lot of the times. So what I do is I'm going to add a little extra eyeshadow underneath my eyelid, here and here, kind of on the two corners, as well as bring it up pretty high, almost to my eyebrow, and then out a little bit as well, kind of mimicking the shape of an eye, just bigger. So I'm gonna start on the It's All Good ColourPop palette with this Happy Go Lucky. It's a really light, shimmery color that we're gonna use on the inside of our eyes. So I'm gonna start by putting some right in the corner of my eye, and then taking that kind of above and below my eyelid a little bit. Cool. So this is a pretty light color. I'm not sure if you can see it super well on the video or not. But it's going to serve as a nice foundation for this sort of autumny look that we're going for today. It's going to pair really well with the sweater that we have on and a lot of my sort of wintry, Christmassy, festive outfits that I have planned for this season. And don't worry about getting it perfect at this point in time. We're going to be blending out a lot afterwards, so you can always come back in with a little more of that first pigment if you need to kind of lighten up any areas again. Next, we're going to move on to this Cater to You. That's going to be the darkest pigment that we're going to use today. I'm just going to get a little bit of it on my brush after I cleaned it off from the first pigment. Want to make sure I mentioned that. And then I'm going to start right under the corner of my eye, and I'm going to bring it straight back up towards my eyebrow, where my edge of my eyebrow is. Like so. Next, I'm going to add a little bit more to my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put most of that pigment right on the corner there, and then I'm going to blend it up and out a little bit more as well. Okay, so we've already messed it up. That's fine, because I can show you one of my tricks. So I get asked a lot, like, how do you do eyeliner all the time? Or like, how do you do eyeliner so well in every video? My answer is I don't. I mess it up consistently every single time. I just fix it after I mess it up. So this is some micellar water. It is, I have no idea what it is, to be honest, but it's really good at taking makeup off of stuff. Someone let me know in the comments what micellar water actually is. I'm going to put a little bit of it, just a couple of drops on the edge of my Q-tip, and then really lightly, I'm going to go over and basically erase any areas that I don't want that eyeshadow. Just like so. Right? You see how easy that was to kind of fix up that shape and get more of what we're looking for? Oh, it's so easy if you just go in afterwards. You don't worry. You don't sweat the small stuff. You just fix it afterwards and go about your day. So I'm going to let this side dry now that I've used that micellar water, and I'm going to start on the other side here before I get into this next step with the Cater to Me. This is where I'm going to start to struggle doing everything on this small table here. Boom. Okay. So remember, they're not twins. They're supposed to be sisters. Cousins is acceptable as well. Okay, another easy trick to kind of get that shape a little bit easier is to look at where the natural kind of shadow or shade of your eyelid is. I brought the red pigment up to that and then blended it out to that line that we created from our bottom lid. So next we're gonna fill in the in-between color and then blend everything together so it's a nice ombre. For this, I'm going to start with the Tropical Punch. It's a little bit lighter than that Cater to Me. And it's also going to be a little peachy. Then I think I'm going to pop over to this 10 out of 10 as well, and just put a little bit of that towards the inside. So for these ones, I don't have to be nearly as careful as I was with this outside or the inside one. I'm pretty much going to put a line of the Tropical Punch first, right next to the outside of where we did that red, and then I'm going to take a line of that 10 out of 10 and put it next to that on the inside. And you can see I kind of messed it up. It doesn't look really blended yet. That's fine. We're going to fix that in just a minute.
No. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So then, like I said, going next with a 10 out of 10. And putting some right next to it. Voila! Next, we're going to clean off the brush really good, and we are going to blend it all together. We're also going to blend out the edges a little bit so it's less of that hard stop and kind of like dissipates into our face. So, I actually want to bring a little bit more of that dark red pigment on the outside and then a little bit coming on the inside as well. So I put
just a little bit
on my brush, and I'm going to real lightly go over the areas that I want to be a little bit darker again. That's like already almost too much. I'm gonna clean off my brush again, and I'm gonna re-blend that out. And you're gonna see this time, I'm gonna actually try to move that dark red pigment towards the inside as I blend instead of on the outside to kind of fill in more of the spaces that I want it to go. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna fuss with it more than I really need to, which is gonna be big. Like if you get to a spot where you're like, I think I like that, I'm happy with that, be done. Just be done with it there. You're gonna save yourself so much hassle in the long run. So, now that we have our eyes where we like them, we are going to move on to our eyeliner. I use this Maybelline Hyper Easy brush tip eyeliner, which I have found to be fairly easy. I wouldn't say hyper easy. I'd say they're overselling that part of it a little bit. It's pretty easy. Okay, so I'm gonna take the eyeliner, now that I have it charged up a little bit, and I'm going to do pretty much the same thing I started with my eyeshadow underneath this eyelid. I'm going to start about a quarter of the way, maybe an eighth of the way in, and I'm going to start there and I'm going to drag a line towards my eyebrow. That's about where I'm going to end it. So with the angle, you can feel free to play around with that. I've done like more of a horizontal wing a lot of the times, and it looks really cute, especially if you have some hooded eyes. I've seen like a really steep angle as well with some people, and it looks super cute as well. Play around with your eyes and what you think looks best with your face and whatever style of makeup you're going for. Remember, like, especially when we're just doing our makeup at home for ourselves, this is all for fun, right? It washes off, it comes off super easy. It's not permanent or anything. So have fun with it, enjoy yourself, because that's the only way we're really gonna learn is if we practice and if we mess up, quite frankly. So now I'm gonna take my eyeliner and I'm gonna try to draw the thinnest little line that I possibly can on the top of my eyelid. And I say this in spurts because, again, I can't talk when I'm doing this because I make a face. Immediately fucked it up. It's okay though. It's fine. It's fine. We'll fix it. So one of the things you do have to be a little bit careful about with these ones, and it's why I messed up there, is there was a little too much of the eyeliner on that felt tip. So as soon as I pressed it on my eye, it kind of spurted out of there. So be careful when you use this. Now, as I get towards the end of my eyelid, I'm going to start to thicken that line up as well. And then we're just going to kind of continue that line out until we meet the edge of that first line we drew. And then very carefully kind of draw color in those lines. Okay, after a brief delay, we're back because I shook the pen again and it exploded some more. So I think I may need a new pen, but we're going to try to continue on because this is the only one that we have. We're just going to be pretty careful about it. You scare me. So I'm also going to be very careful and try to do a little bit on the inside of my eyelid as well, just to kind of help give some definition and shape to it. Now, like I said at the beginning, we're going to grab some micellar water and we're going to fix those spots that have dried now and clean it up. So for this, we're going to use
A super light touch.
the lightest touch we can so that we can try to just get the eyeliner off of our eyelid without messing up our eyeshadow too much. If we do, we can just add on a little extra eyeshadow or we can blend it out. That's fine. It's super easy. But we're going to try not to disturb it too much. Again, we do makeup because it's fun and it makes us feel pretty, not to get frustrated because it's not perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. Okay, speaking of nothing being perfect, I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. That's good enough for the purposes that I needed to serve today, right? Like, the inside's a little bit messed up, but that's fine. We're not going to worry too much about that. Because I know if I try to go back and clean just that tiny little bit up right there that I can see from, like, this close to my face, I'm going to end up messing it up worse than, like, it looks now, to my mind. And it probably looks just fine if I'm standing a couple feet away. So now, please wish me luck as I try to do the same thing on my left eye. There's always probably going to be an eye that's more difficult for you to do, and just be patient, be careful, and remember you just fix it afterwards, because that's what we're going to do. Are they sisters? Are they cousins? That's questionable, but we're done. They're done. That's what they are. Before I go and fix up my left, I'm going to let the eyeliner dry, and I'm going to take some white eyeliner, and I'm going to put that on my waterline under my eye. That's going to help make my eye look a little bigger. It's going to help my eyes pop a little bit more on my face. I just think it's really cute, and I like to do it. Is it in style? I don't care. Now, that might take a little bit of practice, especially if you're not used to doing makeup. It did for me. It really freaked me out to get that close to my eye at first, but go slowly, be patient with yourself, you'll get it. You'll get the hang of it. Okay, now I'm gonna go fix up that eyeliner on my left eye. We got a little bit of that eyeshadow as well, so we're gonna make sure our brush is clean and then blend that out. And we're going to be happy with that. Now, for mascara, yours might look a little bit different than mine because I don't really use, I don't really do my top eyelashes with mascara. The reason being is because they're very difficult for me to get because they droop down pretty low. So I just kind of worry about the bottom lashes just to kind of give those a little bit more of a visible appearance. And then I let my eyeliner and that cat eye kind of serve for the illusion of those eyelashes. This is just a NYX white retractable eyeliner. For my eyeshadow, I'm going to do Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Mascara because I needed a new mascara and this was pretty cheap at the store. So for the mascara, you're just going to get some on your brush and you're going to very lightly pull it across your lashes wherever you want it. You can kind of use it to curl as well to like get over the lashes a little better if that helps. There's one more thing that is going to be on a lot of lists that is not so much on mine, and that's my lips. That's because a lipstick does not last long for me. I do very poorly with lipstick. So most of the time if I use anything, I use this Burt's Bees tinted lip balm because my lips are chapped quite often. So this helps with my chapped lips as well as give a little bit of color. I can't believe I almost forgot it. We gotta do glitter. I can't believe I almost forgot glitter. So normally I would do this before I put on my eyeliner. I forgot. We are going to kind of top off this autumny red look for Christmas. We're going to use this Gold Star glitter shimmer. We're going to take a little bit on our ring finger, like so. And we're going to lightly brush it over our eyelid. Oh, like so. That's it. It just adds that little extra to your look. I think it gives a little bit of warmth as well. So finally now we get to setting spray. Now that we have eyes, we have blush, we have foundation, we have all that good stuff. We have foundation, we have all that good stuff. We want to make sure it all stays in place. So we're going to take our foundation spray. This is NYX Radiant Finish. We're going to point it at ourselves like a foot away from our face, and we're going to have a little few spritzes all over. I missed totally. You're gonna let that dry, and I recommend don't like opening your eyes right away, because sometimes it burns depending on the ingredients of your setting spray. And just like that, we are back at where we started at the beginning of the video, all ready to go put on our cute little holiday outfit and attend that Christmas party. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe so you can see more tutorials that we do in the future. Also, be sure, let me know in the comments what kind of tutorial you want to see next or what kind of video you want me to do. Also, be sure to follow me on all of my other platforms. You can find me pretty much everywhere at D and Daisies. And hey, if you like this video, consider supporting the channel on Patreon like all of these lovely people here did. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.